Something strange is happening, something nobody wants to admit out loud. Women aren't loyal the way they used to be. And the shocking part? It's not because they're bad, or selfish, or modern. It's because something inside their psychology has fundamentally changed. Not slowly, not gradually, but suddenly, almost violently, over the last decade. And if you don't understand this shift, you will get blindsided by it, destroyed by it. Because here's the truth: most men think loyalty is about morals, or upbringing, or values. But psychology says otherwise. Psychology says loyalty is about attachment wiring. And that wiring is reshaping faster than anyone expected.
To me.
Before I tell you the real reason women
There is
detach in
nothing to
seconds,
discuss.
let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how easy it is for her to walk away? How quickly she becomes cold? How she can feel connected one moment and completely emotionless next? If that confused you, if that made you wonder what you did wrong, stay here, because the answer isn't what you think. In fact, the answer will feel almost unfair, and it starts with a part of the brain most people don't even know they have. But we'll get there. The crazy part is coming. Before modern dating, before social media, before instant validation, loyalty was built on one thing: scarcity. Scarcity of options, scarcity of attention, scarcity of alternatives. Women stayed because leaving meant risk, uncertainty, survival challenges. But today, the world flipped upside down. Now the brain receives a very different message. If something feels wrong, we can replace it instantly. And here's the twist: the female brain evolved to prioritize emotional safety over emotional consistency. Meaning, she doesn't stay loyal to a man. She stays loyal to the environment that feels safest. If the environment shifts, her loyalty shifts. And in the modern world, the environment changes every second. Every notification, every like, every compliment, every message from a stranger online. Her brain is constantly comparing, constantly evaluating, constantly scanning for something better. Not because she's disloyal, but because her instincts are wired to optimize emotional security. This is the part men never learn. Most men think loyalty equals commitment, but for her, loyalty equals emotional stability. If she feels it with you, she stays. If she feels it elsewhere, she moves. Comment "I'm listening" if you're still here, because now we go deeper. Here's where things get uncomfortable. Because psychology shows that constant validation changes the brain the same way addiction does. And guess what? Women receive more validation now than at any point in human history. Not because they ask for it, but because the world gives it to them automatically. A selfie, validation. A story post, validation. A picture of her nails, her coffee, her cat, validation. And here's the twist: the female brain links validation to self-worth much more deeply than the male brain does. So when a woman receives non-stop digital attention, her emotional baseline shifts. She no longer sees loyalty as a virtue. She sees it as a limitation. Why commit to one emotional source when you have access to thousands? Why stay loyal to one person when your brain gets microdoses of dopamine from everyone else? That's why loyalty collapses, not because she's unfaithful, but because her self-worth is now connected to attention, not attachment. And this creates a terrifying cycle. The more attention she gets, the less emotionally anchored she becomes. The less anchored she becomes, the easier it is for her to detach. And the easier it is for her to detach, the harder it is for her to love deeply. This is where most men lose her without even knowing why. But trust me, the next part is worse. Have you ever seen a woman go cold overnight? One day she's sweet, affectionate, present. The next day she's distant, dry, emotionless. That sudden shift, it's not mood, it's not stress, it's not even disrespect. It's a psychological mechanism called emotional shuttering. Women evolved this ability to protect themselves from emotional danger. When a woman senses instability, uncertainty, or emotional inconsistency, her brain closes instantly, like a door slamming shut. Once that door closes, she feels nothing. No guilt, no fear, no attachment pain. That's why she seems heartless. She's not being cold, she's self-preserving. And here's the brutal part. Once the door closes, it rarely reopens. Men get confused because men disconnect slowly, gradually, over time. But women disconnect in a single emotional moment. One moment, one shift in tone, one sign of weakness, one hint of instability, and she's gone. Even if she stays physically, emotionally, she has already left, and you won't even know it happened. But the deeper reason this happens, that's coming next. Modern psychology has discovered a disturbing pattern. Women are developing avoidant attachment at a record rate. What does that mean? It means emotional closeness now feels risky. Intimacy feels threatening. Commitment feels suffocating. Because in a world with endless options, being tied to one person feels like losing freedom. So instead of bonding deeply, women bond lightly. Instead of attaching strongly, they attach temporarily. Instead of building long-term connection, they build short-term emotional moments. This is why she can love you today and feel nothing tomorrow. She can cry in your arms. Here's the reality. Most women today feel like they have unlimited options, not because they actually do, but because attention creates the illusion of abundance. To the brain, attention equals potential partners. Even if the guy giving attention lives 8,000 miles away, even if he's not serious, not stable, not compatible. Her brain still registers. There are other men who want me. This illusion makes loyalty optional, because the more she feels wanted by the world, the less she depends emotionally on one man, which means she doesn't fear losing you. She doesn't fear being alone. She doesn't fear starting over. The psychological fear that used to create commitment is now replaced with digital confidence. And here's the twist. This illusion makes forming deep bonds nearly impossible. Why invest deeply when you believe replacements are everywhere? Why stay loyal when the next better option feels one swipe away? Even if the illusion isn't real, the emotions it creates are. And emotions drive loyalty, not logic, but the most heartbreaking part. It's coming next. A woman's brain builds emotional memory through repeated moments, shared experiences, time passed together, rituals, habits. But in the modern world, relationships don't last long enough to create those memories. Everything is fast, disposable, replaceable. So instead of deep emotional bonds, women form microbonds, short bursts of connection, short bursts of affection, short bursts of attention. These microbonds disappear as fast as they form, which means when she leaves, she doesn't lose much, because psychologically, she never built much. This is why she can walk away without crying, without pain, without emotional collapse. Not because she's heartless, but because the bond was shallow, not deep. In her mind, you weren't the one. You were one of. And once you understand this, her behavior suddenly makes sense. But the darkest layer is still ahead. Here's the hardest truth you'll hear today. Men are trying to win loyalty by doing things that used to work in a world that doesn't exist anymore. You can't earn loyalty with kindness or effort or consistency, because loyalty today isn't a choice. It's a neurochemical response. If her brain doesn't link emotional intensity to you, she won't stay. Period. That's why being nice fails. That's why being stable isn't enough. That's why even being loyal to her doesn't guarantee she'll return it. Modern women don't respond to effort. They respond to emotional impact. Meaning, ... She stays loyal to whatever or whoever makes her feel the strongest emotions. If that's you, she binds to you. If it's someone else, she drifts. Men who don't understand this end up becoming forgettable, replaceable, invisible. But men who do understand this become unforgettable, irresistible, unignorable. And the difference is simple: impact over effort. But how do you create emotional impact? That answer is coming. Here it is. The part you came for. The real reason women seem less loyal today. Not morals, not culture, not feminism, not society. It's this. Women stay loyal to the man who activates their emotional imprint system. Meaning, a woman becomes loyal when her brain links emotion, experience, you. If she feels a strong emotion while she's with you, her brain attaches the emotion to you. That emotion becomes a memory. The memory becomes a bond. The bond becomes loyalty. Modern women aren't loyal because modern men aren't imprinting. They're entertaining. They're trying. They're providing. But they're not imprinting. Deep loyalty happens when a woman feels protected, seen, desired, challenged, understood, stimulated, grounded. If you create the right emotional cocktail, she stops scanning the world for options because her brain already linked you to the emotional experience she values most. That's the secret. But the final section will tie it all together. Now that you understand the psychology, let's bring it home. Women aren't less loyal today. They're less attached. They're less emotionally anchored. They're living in a world that constantly rewards attention over connection, validation over vulnerability, options over loyalty. But here's your power. You can create the kind of emotional presence that cuts through all of that noise. You can become the exception. Because once a woman forms a deep emotional imprint with you, she doesn't compare you. She doesn't scan for options. She doesn't drift. She stays, not because she has to, but because her brain won't let her forget you. And that's real loyalty. Not forced, not expected, not demanded, but felt. If you want part 2 on how to create emotional imprinting in the female brain, comment imprint below. And subscribe before you forget. The next chapter of this will change everything.